The film opens in 1966, with Benny Carson, a primary school kid in Detroit who is frequently criticized for his below-average academic performance one day while being tormented by his peers. Benny retaliates by hitting one of the children in the head. As a consequence, Sonia Carson, his mother, is summoned to the principal's office. Ben moans about being stupid after leaving the workplace, but Sonia says he is a brilliant lad who can do much better if he works harder. Sonia, on the other hand, is concerned about his future, fearing that if he does not excel in his studies, he would wind up performing odd jobs, which she does not want for her boys Ben and Curtis. Sonia notices Ben's difficulty seeing while assisting him with his studies and arranges for a pair of glasses for him, which helps him improve his grades. Ben, like his classmates, frequently complains about his lack of brains, but Sonia continually urges him to focus on his academics. Ben once went to church for Sunday prayers. When the preacher tells him about a missionary doctor who treated underprivileged patients despite death threats from the king, Ben is moved and chooses to become a missionary doctor himself. Meanwhile, Sonia, who suffers from depression when she thinks about her spouse, meets a doctor and tells him about growing up in foster care before marrying Carson at the age of 13. She and Carson had a lovely life with her boys until she discovered his former marriage and another child. Despite her efforts to compromise, things became too difficult, resulting in their divorce. She now cleans and babysits to help support her family. After learning about Sonia's suicidal inclinations, the doctor proposes she spend some time in the hospital while eating supper with the boys that night. She informs them that she will be gone for a few weeks. However, she conceals the fact that she will be in the hospital. She urges them to study hard because she believes it is the only way to improve their life. After Sonia is admitted to the hospital, Ben fulfills his vow to study hard and steadily improves his academic record, finally earning an A for the first time. When Sonia returns home and Ben tells her the good news, she is overjoyed. Sonia eventually obtains a new cleaning job at Professor Burkett's house. Sonia, who has a large book collection and is impressed by his expertise, devises a plan to instill reading habits in her boys. When she gets home, she says that she will limit their screen time and that they must go to the library and read 2 books each week. Despite the ban on curious protests, Sonia shows no signs of leniency after being dragged to the library for the first time, then gradually begins to enjoy it and often reads to his mother as well as books on various topics, which enhances his knowledge and helps him in his studies. His new pastime not only impresses his friends, but also his professors. He then impresses his teacher with his understanding of rocks, who then shows him some specimens under a microscope and introduces him to a whole new universe. Ben excels in his studies over time, and while Sonia begins taking reading lessons from Professor Burkett after pursuing a passion for reading, Ben and his brother have a plethora of knowledge on various subjects that help them correctly answer different questions in quiz programs, making them realize the importance of reading. Ben, now in 8th grade, he receives the highest accomplishment award, demonstrating that he is capable of doing anything. Although he appreciates his award, the situation becomes heated at the ceremony when his instructor discriminates against him because of his skin color. Sonia uses her savings to relocate her sons to Chicago, and now that Ben is in high school in Chicago, he experiences derision again due to his old clothing. He wants fresh ones from Sonia, but she is out of money. The following day is school. Ben confronts a bully, Carl, who later befriends him. This new connection, however, leads Ben into bad company as Carl buys him a knife after returning home. Ben finds Sonia has prepared new clothing for him, but he doesn't like them at all and begins to consider using his knife. The next morning, Ben refuses to wear his new clothing and gets into a disagreement with his mother, attempting to strike her with a hammer before Curtis intervenes and stops him. With the passage of time, Ben's rage grows, and he initiates a fight with Carl, stabbing him in the stomach. Carl survives, but the episode upsets Ben. Ben rushes home, realizing that his fury may get him in severe trouble someday, so he prays to God to calm himself down. Ben is presently enrolled at Yale University, where he participates in several activities while studying media. He is fascinated by the wondrous workings of the human brain while attending lectures and decides he wants to be a brain surgeon. When he shares his ambitions with Sonia, she encourages him to follow his passion, reminding them that he is capable of accomplishing anything he wants. Ben was admitted to Yale on a scholarship, but he is struggling to stay. When he addresses the matter with his girlfriend Candy, she tells him to focus on reading rather than lecturing. Ben likes her proposal and instead spends his time reading books and taking notes to better comprehend chemical principles. Ben takes the exam and passes after months of hard effort. Ben goes up for an interview for surgery residency at Johns Hopkins, which he dedicates to Sweets and asks her to marry him after finishing his degree, and impresses the doctor with his expertise and devotion, getting himself a placement at his ideal house. By 1985, Baer had advanced to the position of chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins, where he skillfully manages seemingly difficult situations while having a happy married life with Sweets. Cynthia, a little girl suffering from severe convulsions, is taken into the hospital, and after an examination of her situation, then she has the brilliant notion of removing her left hemisphere. The procedure proves to be yet another success in his career. Ben perfects hemispherectomy to treat more patients and receives widespread media attention for his contributions to neurosurgery. Meanwhile, Sonia pays a visit to spend time with her grandchildren and to assist Candy, who is expecting twins. Candy's condition, on the other hand, becomes difficult when she develops major bleeding and is transported to the hospital. Although the physicians are successful in preserving her life, they lose their unborn twins. Sonia tells him to return to the hospital when he has recovered because there are many more patients in need. 2. Once on duty, the doctor informs him of a case of conjoined twins in Germany and requests that he treat them. Although such cases never survive the separation, the doctors want to try because otherwise the children would not have full lives. Despite his reservations, Ben flies to Germany and meets the twins. Peter and Augusta Rush, her parents, will look after her children. Augusta informs Ben that even though she understood a better child's condition during pregnancy, she couldn't terminate them since the physicians might not be able to rescue both children. Peter. After inspecting the twins, Ben learns that they do not share any important organs but may have some issues owing to their conjoined minds. Ben is certain that he can separate their brains, but he is concerned about the possibility of massive bleeding, which may endanger their lives, so he returns to the United States and decides to postpone the surgery, because he does not want to take any chances. Back at home, while Ben cares for his own boys, he considers those hapless parents before alerting his superior that he is ready to do the procedure. Ben begins his investigation to discover a means to rescue both of the children after receiving the all-clear. While contemplating the procedure, Ben recalls his own lost twins and expresses his emotions to his mother. Sonia encourages him to go ahead with his procedure or he will regret it. She tells him once more that he is capable of doing anything if he looks beyond himself. Vision Ben chooses to proceed with the surgery and assembles a team of neurosurgeons, plastic surgeons, anesthesiologists, and cardiovascular surgeons to practice every stage of the procedure. Following the preliminary preparations, he invites Peter and Augusta, as well as their boys, to Johns Hopkins for the procedure. Ben explains to the parents that they will have to stop the kid's heart during the surgery so they don't lose blood when the physicians repair their veins following separation. On September 5, 1987, the team begins this first-of-its-kind operation to split conjoined twins. After a nerve-wracking 21 hours, Ben succeeds in preserving both children and relays the good news with their parents, who are overwhelmed. Ben thanks his mother and his wife for believing in him and sharing his accomplishments with the media. The epilogue indicates that the twins escaped and returned to Germany, where they are still living today. Ben went on to execute a number of successful procedures on conjoined twins, and it is because of his pioneering work that hemispherectomy is now a generally acknowledged treatment for treating seizures. Aside from his successful medical profession, Candy then established the Carson Scholarship Fund in order to recognize and reward academic success among deserving youngsters. This concludes the video.